Good afternoon. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, David. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Welcome, guests and Rotarians. We're so glad to have you here. Our first meeting of the new year. We're at the Rotary Club of Gainesville. Today is January 4th, and we are so happy to have you here. For guests and visiting Rotarians joining us on Zoom, please identify yourself in the chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, please register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. And without further ado, Pete Inwall, would you mind leading us in song and pledge?
Happy New Year. Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me? Today's joke was submitted by Gordon Hubble. A New Year's resolution goes in 1 year and out the other. Now, today we're going to sing Auld Lang Syne because it's the first meeting of the new year. So if you don't know the words, that's okay. Just sing what you know. Acquaintance be forgotten and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgotten and days of Auld Lang Syne. For Auld Lang Syne, my dear, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for days of Auld Lang Syne. Happy New Year. Would you join me in pledging allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pete. And we have Laurie Vidal here. He's going to invigorate us and get us ready for a new year spiritually.
Well, it's I think there's no secret that my mentor of many years always made sure he read his prayer so he'd have some content to it. So I've followed that lead, and my copy of it is at home on the kitchen counter. So I'm reading from my phone. I am not a high-tech guy. So here we go. Let's pray together. On this beautiful day, meeting for the first time in a new year, 2022, we are launching into a year following two of the most challenging years all of us have ever faced. We're feeling a sense of relief from the broad shutdown of 2022 while still not sure how much we're going to be opening up our lifestyles in 2022. In 2022, we all want to do these things. We want to bless our families. We want to serve well in the callings that each one of us has that we feel is placed upon us as leaders and as people who want to be invested well. And we want to use these times together effectively, encouraging one another and mobilizing our impact in the community. In the spheres of influence that you've given to each one of us, help us to have the wisdom to create solutions not driven by selfish desires, but solutions that can be described as beneficial to all concerned, whatever that might be. Give us the heart of a Solomon, desiring wisdom above all, desiring to continually ask the question, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Equip us, Father, to invest ourselves in this bright and beautiful new year we have before us. I pray in your name. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. At this time, we are going to introduce any guests or visiting Rotarians.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. My name is Ed Book. I'm your Wednesday clubber from downtown, but today I'm here on behalf of Santa Fe College, and we'll talk about that momentarily.
Welcome, Ed. Any more introductions? Yes, in the back.
Oh. Hello again. You last saw Connie Bauer Crane and me, Bob Crane, last end of March. We invade you people every year, January, February, March. You get us from Iowa, East Central Iowa. We got a little bit lucky. We got out there the day before. They have 1 below temperatures and 8 to 10 inches of snow. That's on the TV news. But we beat that. We headed straight down to Mobile, Alabama. So then we came over on 10. But anyway, nice to be here, and we'll be around for the next 3 months.
Welcome. We look forward to having you.
I'd like to introduce Diane Rothberg. She is visiting several different Rotary clubs and interested in joining Rotary. She's a nurse practitioner and has her own company. So ask her more about that. Well, join me in welcoming her.
Welcome. All right. Thank you, Don. All right. At this time, we are actually going to recognize Rotarians with birthdays. Some of you noticed the carrot cake. We started a new tradition. You all really like carrot cake. If I get a different flavor, I take it home with me. If I get carrot cake, it's gone. So I'm thinking it's a good tradition for us to start this year here at our Rotary. So for January birthdays, we are back to the dollar donation, and I'll do my best to pronounce names correctly. So we have Sandra Herrera, Jacob Atem, Jenny Van Hart, Bob Mounts, Tom McCallum, Scott Winger, Cotton Fletcher, Leonard Ireland, Mia Jones, Marion Lee, Rob Lash, Kim Nyani, Karen Polifko, Dwight McKee, Rennie Henderson, Craig Carter, Steve Dalton, Clayton Coleman, Cynthia Brochu, and Adam Lee. So you might have to pay up a few extra dollars. So happy birthday, Rotarians. I don't know if we're going to sing, or are we singing? Okay. Pete, you ready?
Okay, Rousing. Happy birthday, everybody. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, fellow Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. And Charlie, and many more.
Okay, thank you all very much. We do have an announcement. Jason, you want to come up and tell us about the Wild Game Feast?
Hey guys, Happy New Year, everybody. Goes by fast, doesn't it? So with that, it goes very fast from this point today until we get to the Wild Game Feast on the 3rd. I want to thank our everyone in our club and our sponsorship committee for really moving this along. So I wanted to recognize very briefly, I didn't get up right before the holiday, I want to enjoy the holiday party, but we have a lot of new sponsors that have come on. So I'm just going to list those out quickly and let you know who's come on board. We have a lot of new sponsors as well, so very excited about where we're at currently now. First, Collier's Gainesville Commercial Advisory Team, CHW Professional Consultants, Concept Companies, Florida Credit Union, ViStar, Campus USA, GSE Engineering and Consulting, Ulrich Construction, the Thomas Family, Drummond Community Bank, Gainesville Commercial Advisory Team, Quality Plumbing of Gainesville, Sheeran Associates Insurance, Audi Gainesville, Florida Pest Control, Gainesville Carpet Plus Color Tile. We've got Miss Bobby Hall and Maxine that came on as a sponsor again this year. Newman's Heating and Air, Salter Fiber came on, Watson Realty, a small company called Enterprise Rent-A-Car, James Moore and Company, McGriff Williams Insurance, and as an individual sponsor, Ed Ellett. So I'd like to give a round of applause and thank all of our new sponsors that have come on. And briefly in closing, what I would say is that we are in a very good place right now, but we can do a lot more, and there's plenty of time. And that cutoff time really for us in sponsorships is going to be mid-February, so we can get everything in and make sure that we're all set for the game feast. And that's just really a few weeks away. But if we're going to contribute to all three of our great recipients this year, any additional sponsorships that you can bring in. I know we have a lot of you working some things on the side. And as business speeds up this week and people get back to the norm next week, if we could just ask everyone in our club, everyone on Zoom today, to please reach out to someone you do business with and see if they would join as a sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. And now turn the program over to our president, David Gracie.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Happy New Year. It is wonderful to be with you here, the first meeting of the new year. As you all know, this is actually the midpoint of our Rotary year, the Rotary year beginning July 1st. But with that said, I still am happy, and I'm thankful that I had some time over the break, Megan and I, just to kind of think about things and do some personal and some business planning and kind of count our blessings. And I'll just tell you just how truly thankful I am at how well our club has. I'd even use the word persevered. I know coming out of COVID, it's hard for organizations like ours. It's hard on churches, and it's just wonderful to come here on Tuesday at lunch and see a room full of people that are happy and engaged, and it's good to have that here. And I just want you to know that it's because of you. It's because of your engagement in this club and your commitment. And so I am more thankful for that than I could really properly convey. So thank you, everyone. And I'm excited about the next 6 months of our Rotary year. And with that, I'm going to ask Chief Ed Book from the Downtown Club to come up and introduce our wonderful speaker, Dr. Mona Ashour.
Well, good afternoon again. Again, my name is Ed Book, and while I have periodically attended the Tuesday Club, this club many times over the years, your hospitality is always great. Today, I'm actually coming to you as a Santa Fe College official, and it's my honor from that #1 community college in the nation to introduce our Fullbright Scholar in Residence, Dr. Mona Ashour from Egypt. And you're going to find that what she tells us and what she talks about is absolutely fascinating. Part of a Fullbright Scholar's commitment when they come to the United States and teach at our higher education institutions is to talk about other cultures and other places and give us perspective. And that's exactly what Rotary does around the world. So it kind of falls in and dovetails very well. She's already spoken at both the Monday Club, which is Greater Gainesville, and the Wednesday Club. And each time it's been a little bit different, so I know I'm going to learn too. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Ashour, if you want to come up while I'm speaking about you. So she was selected by the Fullbright Foreign Scholarship Board to serve with us at Santa Fe College through May of 2022, but she was selected in 2019. And then a little thing called COVID and the pandemic interrupted Fullbright Scholars' abilities to go around the world, and she came to us last fall in 2021. She is one of 42 Fullbright Scholars in Residence, and among more than 1,300 outstanding foreign faculty and professionals who will teach or research in the United States through this May. In the fall, she taught two very interesting areas in her area of expertise: African Humanities with Dr. Cervone and World Religions. This spring, starting tomorrow, remember UF and Santa Fe open tomorrow. So if you're seeing a lot of cars come off the interstate at 95 mile an hour plus, Those are probably students. College and university are open. Starting tomorrow, she teaches 2 additional classes with us through May, English literature and history with Dr. Price. One other thing I found interesting about the Fullbright program, if you're not familiar, and I as a cop was not familiar with the program when I met Dr. Ashour. It's the US government's flagship international academic exchange program. It is funded through the US Department of State. It was founded in 1946 in the aftermath of World War II, thanks to the leadership of the United States Senator, whose last name was Fullbright, Senator J. William Fullbright. It is designed, this is Rotary all the way, and this is Dr. Ashour all the way. It is designed to increase mutual understanding and respect between the people of the United States and the people of other countries, thus creating a more peaceful world. Please welcome Dr. Ashour, our Fulbright Scholar.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. It's a pleasure to be with you today in the Rotary. My name is Mona Ashour, and I'm a visiting Fulbright scholar from Egypt. I'm here according to a scholarship which is funded by the Fullbright Commission. This scholarship has 2 main objectives. The first one is to co-teach with American professors in many courses which actually need my cultural background, my cultural perspective as Arab, as Muslim, as Scarvid, female and woman. So I'm trying to transcend my experience, my cultural background to the American classes here in Santa Fe College. This is the first objective. The second objective is what I'm doing now, to give public lectures in Rotary and in many other institutions about my culture, my country, Egypt. So the main objective of this scholarship is internationalization with different ways, either in education or in community. So let's start our PPT or our topic for today. Today, I'm going to talk about Egypt after the Arab Spring revolutions. And I hope that you are familiar with the Arab Spring revolutions, which actually took place in 2011 in the Middle East, in the whole of the Middle East. Of course, it started in Tunisia and then moved to Egypt and then to the whole of the Middle East. But before talking about Egypt, I will not repeat what Chef Pock said, but I'm here according to the Fullbright program, and the Fullbright program is funded by the Department of State, and the Fullbright Commission is founded in 1946, and in 2021, it was the 75th birthday of the Fullbright. Okay, so the name of my program, or the name of the program which I'm here according to, is Scholar in Residence Program. And as I told you, according to this program, I'm here in the United States for 9 months to co-teach and to give public lectures in different communities. Sorry. Okay, who am I? Let me tell you a little bit about myself away from any academics. I'm Mona, and I was born in Cairo in Egypt. I'm from a middle class family. My father is agricultural engineering, and my mother is working in accounting in the National Council of Accounting in Egypt. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. After finishing my university degree in the Faculty of Education, Department of English, I started working on my general diploma and special diploma, and I actually was assigned as a demonstrator in my department because according to the Egyptian law, the first of every year's graduation class should be a demonstrator, should be a staff in the Egyptian universities, only the first one. Okay, so I became a demonstrator, and then I have been upgraded from demonstrator to assistant lecturer, and then I became a lecturer, and now I'm assistant professor. My major is English language and English literature, but I am interested in many different areas and fields which are related to humanities in general. So I think that's, yes, after finishing, before starting my MA, I got married to my husband, who is Professor Muharram Yahya. He's my colleague in the same faculty. And after finishing my master's, I got Mila and Mackenzie. Mila and Mackenzie are my twin girls. They are 8 years old. And after, before my PhD viva, I gave birth to Mazen, and he is my 3 years old little son. Of course, none of my family is with me here because of COVID. And maybe I'm the first Fulbright scholar to come to the United States without dependents at all. This is the first time to happen since the foundation of the Fulbright Commission. But just because of COVID, I'm here, they are there, and it's hard. All the time, it's hard. But I'm adjusting, and I'm believing in what I'm doing here in my message, and I'm happy to hold this responsibility. And I hope one day they will be proud of me and they will not blame me to leaving them. Okay, so the impact of the Scholar in Residence program on home institution, as I told you, is internationalization. So one of the activities which we have done already in Santa Fe College, that we make a virtual exchange classes between my Egyptian students in Cairo and the American students here in Santa Fe. So I brought my Egyptian students over Zoom, and we put the American students in a big hall, and we started talking about religions. So it was a fruitful conversation between post-Muslims and Christian Egyptian students and American students who belong to different, actually, religious divisions. So that happened in the contemporary world class, world religion class, and it also happened in the African humanities class. But we talked about the African traditions, languages, arts, everything about Africa actually was included in that lecture. So this is what part of what we have done on the level of internationalization of classes in Santa Fe. Let's start our topic for today, Egypt after the Arab Spring revolutions, which actually started in 2011. First of all, I will tell you a little bit about Egypt. Egypt is at the center of Earth. It has a strategical position because a big part of Egypt is in Africa, but Sinai is in Asia. So part of Egypt is in Africa and the other part is in Asia, so which gives Egypt a strategical position. The population here is 74 million, but this is an old record actually, because now we exceeded 100 million people. This is the area, the space of Egypt is 384 blah, 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 millions of square miles. And the capital is Cairo. The largest city is also Cairo, and Cairo is the red spot. It's at the point where the Nile is divided into Rashid and Dumyat. Rashid and Dumyat are the two divisions of the Nile. So Cairo is at the center of the division of the Nile, and the Nile actually is comes from the south to the north. So it moves from the south to the north. It comes from Ethiopia and it goes to the Mediterranean Sea in the north. We have also another sea in Egypt, which is the Red Sea. It's on the east. So we are surrounded by two seas, the Mediterranean Sea in the north and the Red Sea is in the east. And we have the Nile that cuts the whole of Egypt. Actually, the primary religion of Egypt is Islam. We have also Christianity a lot because we are all Coptic. The origin of Egyptians are Coptic. So we have a lot of Christians in Egypt, but the primary religion, or let's say the official religion of the country, is Islam. The language is Arabic and the government is Republic. So the official name of Egypt is the Arab Republic of Egypt, جمهورية مصر العربية, the Arab Republic of Egypt. And the industry, we are depending on textiles, food processing, tourism. Actually, we depend on tourism a lot. So a great loss happened in the economical system of Egypt because of COVID, because tourism actually stopped. Because of COVID, and even before COVID, because of the Arab Spring revolutions. Okay, the land of Egypt is almost 70% desert. And without the Nile, without the existence of the Nile, there could be no civilization to be existed in this place. So the Nile is the source of the ancient Egyptian civilization, the Pharaoh civilization, and only because of the existence of the Nile that a great civilization actually existed there. Okay, so let's move to the Arab Spring. What, when, why, and who? What is the Arab Spring revolutions? The Arab Spring revolutions are waves of pro-democracy protests and upsprings that took place in the whole of the Middle East and North Africa in particular. It started in North Africa in particular, and then it moves to the whole of the Middle East. When it began in 2010 and 2011, why? Because we were challenging some of the region's entrenched authoritarian regimes. We were just rejecting the authoritarian political systems in the Middle East, which caused youth unemployment, high food prices, and rampant corruption. So the main reasons that stand behind the Arab Spring revolutions is youth unemployment and high food prices, or maybe the unavailability of a good, healthy food, and the corruption everywhere. I remember those times of the Egyptian revolutions. Actually, Egypt was completely on fire before the revolution. Corruption spread everywhere. Everywhere. You can never visit any governmental institution or even a civil institution without feeling, tasting, and experiencing corruption everywhere. And no one was afraid to be judged by law, which is very dangerous. So before the revolution, 5 years before the revolution, the political system, which was ruled by Hosni Mubarak at that time, was very weak. He was too old, and his political wisdom was so weak, and corruption was spreading quickly without anyone to stop it, without any application of law. So revolution was coming anyway. Some say that some countries actually moved the revolution in Egypt and in many other countries to serve other people or other communities, its interests in the Middle East, but that's not so much true, because I'm Egyptian and I lived the times of revolutions. Revolution was about to happen anyway. Okay, so who made the revolution? Actually, the wave began when protests in Tunisia and Egypt toppled their regimes in quick successions, inspiring similar attempts in other Arab countries. So the whole story started in Tunisia, and then it moves to Egypt, and from Egypt to the whole of the Middle East. But who actually stands behind the Arab Spring revolution, or who led the spark of the Arab Spring? And just it's simply two young men. Two young men led the spark of the revolution in the whole of the Middle East. The first one is Khalid Said. If we are going to begin with the left hand, this is Khalid Said. And Khalid Said is just a boy, a little boy, Egyptian boy, who was arrested by policemen in Egypt in 2011. And he was tortured until death. So can you see his photo before being arrested? And the other one is his photo also, but after being killed out of torture. But Khalid, and after that accident, actually many youth made a Facebook page, and they entitled it "Kullina Khalid Said." We all Khalid Said, and everything started out of this page. You can never imagine the role of social media in letting the fire or letting the spark of the revolution in Egypt, not only in Egypt, but in the whole of the Middle East. Okay, but actually the real beginning of the Arab Spring is Muhammad Bouazizi, who is in the on your right hand. This is the photo of Muhammad Bouazizi, and Muhammad Bouazizi is a Tunisian boy who is a street vendor. He is selling fruits, he's selling vegetables in the streets, and he was so much annoyed by policemen. They were taking his cart every day. And in unjust way, one of the police woman actually slapped him over his face in front of everyone in the streets. And he couldn't bear that. So he went to the Department of Police, or to the police department, and he set fire on himself. He was moved to a hospital, but he died after 18 days, yes. So when that happened in Tunisia, the Jasmine Revolution, which started in Tunisia, gave the inspiration to Egyptian youth, and then everything happened in Tunisia, moved to Egypt. But the two accidents actually happened in the same time. So Muhammad Bouazizi and Khalid Said, the two accidents happened at the same time, and they were so much focused on by mass media, journalism, and it was somehow, I will not say used, or somehow directed in the way to revolution, but I'm telling you that corruption was everywhere. And the revolution was coming, anyway was coming. But these two accidents moved everything to the way of revolution quickly. I'm sorry. Okay, so the slogan of the Arab Spring revolutions everywhere in the Middle East were الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام. This is in Arabic. الشعب يريد إسقاط النظام, which means people demand removal of the regime. And people were actually asking for 3 rights, only 3 rights: bread, freedom, and social justice. Bread, freedom, and social justice. Okay, where the Arab Spring revolutions happened, or how far the Arab Spring revolution is spread. If we are going to see this is actually a map that combines the African countries and the Asian countries which contributed in the Arab Spring. So the countries which actually highlighted in the dark color, those countries where the revolution led to a change in the political system, which means that they get rid of the president at that time. So Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and Yemen, actually they succeeded to descend their presidents from their position. In Egypt, we descended Mohammed Hosni Mubarak. In Libya, they descended Muammar al-Gaddafi. And in Tunisia, they descended Zain al-Abidin. And in Yemen, they descended Abdullah Saleh. So what about the other countries? The other countries actually experienced the street revolutions, but it never led to a change in the political system. Maybe on the contrary, it led to a great case. Okay, Egypt's timeline after the Arab Spring Revolution. So what actually happened after the end of the Arab Spring Revolution in Egypt? By the end of 2011 and the beginning of 2012, unfortunately, and I'm so sad to remember or recall those times, but unfortunately, the Muslim Brotherhood actually started to take the grant of the revolution, and they started under the name of Islam and under the name of religion, and people actually, especially in my country, like the slogans which are under the name of Islam. Who doesn't like to be loved by Allah? Who doesn't like to have this accreditation that I am good and Allah is happy of me? So under the name of religion, the Muslim Brotherhood started convincing people in Egypt that we are going to rule according to the Islamic law. And unfortunately, despite we were going out of a great revolution, people in Egypt selected a president from the Muslim Brotherhood. So, but this rise of the Muslim Brotherhood was never long-lived. So by the 2013s, after months of tension, people were not in Egypt, were not so much flexible or were not so much feeling grasped to the Muslim Brotherhood because they started killing some Egyptian military members on the borders of Sinai in order to make pressures over them, the Egyptian army to give them political positions. So can you imagine? They are killing our sons on the borders of Sinai in order to get political position. So that will be the end of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. We can never trust you again. And we should never trust you from the very beginning. But people in Egypt, because of the high percentage of illiteracy, you can convince them with anything. And this election actually was not fair and was not faithful because they used money, they used food and many things to achieve these positions, either in parliament or to have Mohammed Morsi was the president from the Muslim Brotherhood. But in 2013, people came out of the street, and that was one of the hardest times in Egypt because Egyptians are completely split into two. Some of them want the Muslim Brotherhood. Some of them want someone from the military, and there's a third group, and I was one of them. I just want a normal human being, away from the religious fascism, away from the military fascism. Just a normal human being who can hold the responsibility, who is actually qualified to be a good president. So people here were, this is a photo of the third group. They were just slashing the religious fascism and the symbol of the military fascism. Here, this is the Rab'a. This is the symbol of those who were actually supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. So by the 2014, we got a president from the military, who is Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. You may think that Egypt failed by getting a military president, and not someone who is normal, who is away from the military fascism. But this is not completely true, because Egypt now is better than before. And he is doing very well, not because he is from the military, no, but because he knows very well that Egyptians will never go back to the old times. We will never accept injustice again. So he's taking care of Egypt. Maybe we are not so much ready for someone who is out of the military institution. Maybe that's right. I'm telling you, I'm Egyptian, and I'm telling you that we are not still ready. Once we end the problem of illiteracy, once we are stable on the economical system, we can have a normal president. So he was again elected in the 2018, and this is just as this is Chef Fook is telling me I have to finish. So some photos from the Arab Spring Revolution in Egypt. Actually, women did a good job at that time, and that was a turning point in the women status in Egypt, because after that we gained a lot of seats in the parliament, and we have all these women are now ministers in Egypt. We have the minister of medicine, of international relationships, of ecology, of culture and arts. So that was a great success for women since the Arab Spring revolutions. These are some charts about women's empowerment in Egypt. Of course, it increased as you can see, but Tunisia is actually better than us on the level of women empowerment. On the level of democracy, Tunisia also is better than Egypt because they started before us. Not some months, some days or before us, but they are doing very well because they are fighting the Muslim Brotherhood nowadays. But if they accepted a president from the Muslim Brotherhood, this going to be down. So Egypt is not moving very good because we still have a military president. Freedom of press, of course, Egypt on the level of freedom of press is 0 because about 26 journalists were imprisoned. This is actually popular in Egypt, but it's getting better because the military institution believes that journalists actually spread some ideas among the masses, which the masses are not ready for yet. But anyway, this is not a justification. This is bad. Okay, corruption. On the level of corruption, you cannot find agree to change, but I'm assuring you there is a changing. We are becoming better on the level of corruption. The standard of living in Egypt, it is the same because we are concentrating on doing great projects that's we hope will have a great impact on the future. But nowadays there is no change in the standard of living of Egyptians. In youth employment, it's better, but just because the population of Egypt or the number of youth of the youth in Egypt is increasing, you cannot recognize that the youth unemployment is getting better or youth employment is getting better. I'll not talk about the other countries. We mentioned why the Arab Spring has not failed. Anyway, do all these profound changes mean that the Middle East is on the brink of a glorious new era of peace, democracy, freedom, and prosperity? The answer is no. No. We will still have some years of conflict between the revolutionary powers and the military powers and the religious fascism. So it's not so easy like that, but it was a turning point. The last thing I want to share with you the official song of the Egyptian Arab Spring Revolution. This is some kind of a dialogue between an Egyptian and his country. It's not with Egypt, it's with the political system, but it's somehow hidden. It's hidden as if he is talking to Egypt, but actually he is talking to the political system. You will, at the beginning of the video, you will see the photos of the young boys and girls who are died at the early days of the revolution, and then you will see actual photos of what happened in Egypt. No voice. Okay. These are the photos of the young boys and girls. And these are actual photos of what actually happened in Egypt. And you will see Muslims and Christians are standing together. Each one is holding the cross and the other is holding Quran. 100 people were there in Tahrir Square. 100,000 of people were in Tahrir Square. Of course, many Egyptians died. This is the translation of the lyrics. I hope that's good. Listen to it because it's so energetic. Of course, the great confrontation between the people and the policemen were so harsh, and actually Mubarak had the chance to end this revolution, but he had it 2 times to end this revolution or to stop this revolution if he descended the minister of police. But he could never do that because at that time he was supporting him, and he was supporting the idea that Gamal Mubarak, the son of Muhammad Hosni Mubarak, is going to be the next president of Egypt. So he never descended him and he never fired him because of that. But all of them left by the end of this revolution, all of them actually left. So thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I am exceeded my time. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Dr. Ashour, thank you so much for your presentation. And I think we all recognize what a wonderful resource you are to our community, to Santa Fe College, but to the Gainesville community, and you know the role that you play. I think we all recognize that you call it internationalism, but I think you're helping us understand a culture that's so foreign to most of us. So thank you for that. As an international Fullbright scholar in residence, it's wonderful to have you here today. And just to commemorate your talk today, we have a Rotary coin that I'm going to give you that will be something that you can remember and perhaps show your family when you go back home to Egypt. But on the front, it has our motto, the Rotary International motto, which is service above self. And on the other side, it has our 4-way test, which is something that we as Rotarians consider in all things that we think, say, or do. We ask, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So thank you again so much, Dr. Ashour. I'm so glad to have met you today. Everyone, thank you again for being here today. And I hope everyone has a good week. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday and our 50-50 drawing for the Rotary Reading Safari. Last 3 digits are 693. 693. Have a good week, everybody.